Yeah, I came from the other side. Out of nowhere. You never know where King Unk's gonna just jump in. You could think you're safe. And King Unk's just gonna jump out of nowhere. Guys, let's close this out. We need a few minutes. What do you want to talk about? Maybe we'll do a Q&A episode soon. I want to know what you guys think of the way things have been going the last few months, some of the stuff I've been posting, opportunities I've been getting. I have a... Let me tell you guys a story. I tell the story of how I started doing influencing, but I did not tell the story of like all the things that made me get there. And I kind of had a moment last week, which feels special to me. Because it was a moment that I was always told I was not good enough, and I had it. And I killed it. And I'll get into that in detail later. So, many moons ago, before I came to this social media world, where you guys all got to know, first, the urban franchise Tony Montana, now the urban franchise King Unk. I was just one of those dudes who had a job, and I was content. I was working in a great company, in a great industry. Now, going into this position, it's the same industry my dad was in, the dental industry. And I know my dad kind of started off similar place to where I was going into, and he became one of the most respected men in the industry. He established himself, he proved himself, and kept getting opportunity after opportunity until he was at the top. Someone like him, it's like, how? You weren't even born in this country. He legitimately never even heard of that industry before, or knew about it before. But somehow he just came in as a regular guy and was able to climb to the top and become so respected. And it's one of those things I always admire. And it's just like, in that time, the opportunities he got and the positions he got, they were not for people of color. And he broke a lot of borders. He smashed down walls. He was one of, like a Jackie Robinson, if you will, where he was the right person for the position. And because of him doing so well as he did, it created opportunities for other people to get into other high positions because of how well he did. So, being that I've always admired my dad so much, I did want to replicate his success going into the industry he was into. I spent 7 years in this company. I was the guy for what I did. And, around the time I was bitter, I realized I wasn't mature enough. Like, honestly, who I was as far as the maturity level before I started at this company and when I left was completely different. I feel I kind of started to mature and start to become a man in the 7 years I spent in that company. But there was a certain point where I thought after 7 years, time I put in, I kind of deserved the opportunity. I wanted to do more. I did get opportunities. I was not where I started. I did have certain growth. I did get more responsibilities. My factor is, and I realize now how immature it was, I wanted more responsibilities until I proved myself completely in all that I had. I probably should have just pushed myself harder and becoming considered more reliable. And I think that was my downfall. I was kind of egotistical. I was arrogant when I was younger. And I think that was kind of something, it was a coping mechanism for me at that time because I didn't truly know who I was as a person. I was still figuring that out. And there was an opportunity I wanted, and there was someone who came in who I've been there for years. They've been there for not even a year. They were getting the opportunity to do it, and it bothered me. And I just realized a part of it was just how I carried myself. Maybe I called in sick one too many times. Wasn't the most reliable, and that's on me. But I did hold resentment. I was always pissed off. I do understand why I did not get that opportunity back then. And the simple fact of the matter is, I feel it was necessary for my path. Because had that not happened, I would not have made the decision to go back to school. And the part of the story I always tell you guys is being back in school is what made me come to you guys, because I didn't want to be out partying with the people who I hung out with when I was a dumbass, living paycheck to paycheck. I wanted to elevate myself. I wanted to get out of that frat boy BS that I was doing, because I realized doing that was not taking me anywhere. Yeah, I still drank. Yeah, I still smoked weed. Yeah, I still a fat kid. I still big back. But I did it, I guess you could say, in a more respectable way. Didn't make it the priority and the factor of my outings, if you will. I went from just going out to drink and eat with my friends, or just going for the sake to be getting drunk with my friends, wherever, didn't care, to when I did go out, it's for experiences, to go somewhere new. Go to awesome events because it's what I love. I didn't go to Raw wrestling shows, although I probably could have afforded it when I that position. But ultimately, I feel the path I went on when I left is what brought me to where I am now. Now, in that industry, the top position you can get is sales. That's not what I was aiming for. I was just kind of aiming for other things. But when I left, I went back to school. There are certain things I excelled in my course. My course is essentially an entrepreneurial course. It had two options. It would be someone who wanted to start their own business, or someone who wanted to grow within the hotel or hospitality industry. I could have become a bar manager, hotel manager if I went further. But where I excelled, because you got to learn everything. If you're starting your own business, you're not per se going to have the money to hire someone for marketing, for accounting, for sales, for all those things. And for management, you're going to be doing a lot on your own, or having people very close to you. So they taught you all that. The two things where classes I really excelled at was management classes and my sales classes. So when I did leave, I actually pursued the sales industry. At first, I didn't get into it. I had no office experience. I'd done general labor for 20 years. It was a door. It was like the forbidden door for me, honestly. Because before I made the decision to go back to school, I did apply for a lot of jobs, but this job was general labor, but it was an industry I know, because of seeing what my dad did, there is potential for growth. And it was a 5-minute walk. All these other places were really far. Why would I leave somewhere that's a 5-minute walk to go to a potential other general labor job that may not have the potential of growth that I know would eventually be there? I was trying to get into an office. I was trying to get into a desk. That's where I wanted to be. There was a point where, in my job search, turned out I had arthritis in my hands, and my doctor recommended me get away from general labor. And I kind of used that as an excuse to go back to school. But as one in school, I see in sales was one of my selling points. I just had to get into any sales position that I can. I had to climb the ladder and kind of build a reputation for myself. So I started off doing surveys. That was my first desk job. And I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. It was like minimum wage, like one of those really overcrowded call centers. Like in the training, there was barely people. Some people didn't even get seats. It was just very crowded. And the training, like, I didn't really learn anything. I just kind of sat there, and it was just like everything went so fast. They were just rushing people to take those survey, do those calls. But to me, that was like, oh my God, I'm finally in the office. I get to wear nice clothes. But then it was like, this is one of the places, and the next, where it kind of slapped me. You have to come in for the training, dressed up in dress clothes. But then they're like casual, and I remember going each week. I'm wearing my dress pants, my dress shirt. I just literally spent all the money I had left after I left that company, getting a nicer clothes, dress pants, all that stuff. And I'm seeing people with jeans. I was like, wait. But everyone's dressed so casual. I didn't realize that was the thing. You only had to for that. So I kind of jumped from call center, that. Then I got into collections. Company called Gatestone and Co. And this one was different. You had to wear dress clothes. You had to, which I loved because I was like, yo, okay. Now I could always wear it because there's so many places where I was doing that and I kept wearing my dress clothes, but then I was like, out of place because, only the older people are dressing up. I'm like one of the kind of younger people. I don't know, I was in my early 30s, but still, I was considered kind of younger in some scenarios. So I was just like, okay, get to wear dress clothes. And apparently I was really good. Now, I would always go above my quarters in the previous places, but this collection place, this was the first time where I just like destroyed it. And like I remember, it was weird to me because being in the general labor world, it's just like kind of, I know some are team set, but most of the places where I was just like, you're on your own. You do what you gotta do, blah, blah, blah. You are your person, blah, blah, blah. There's no groups, there's no team camaraderie really. The team camaraderie only comes at the end of the day where you guys are just trying to get shit done that moment. But just like when I was announced number one, it was just like I instantly went from the quiet guy who just kind of chilled and had my one or two people who are cool with from the training class I talked to like, yo, I'm the leader now. People are coming to me for advice. Like everyone's like, and it was like, I remember when they said I was number one, I was just like, right on. But then I saw like a level of pride from my team being proud. I was like, yeah, Anthony's number one, blah, blah, blah. And that's the first time I've ever felt that. And it's something that was missing, like in the general labor world. I was always a go-getter, a hard worker. I always pushed myself hard, but that only ever got recognized if it was a really busy day or certain scenarios. And it's really only management being like, yo, great job, blah, blah, blah. Not everyone else, not your team, but this, like having my team celebrating me was a new experience, which was just like, oh my God, wow, this is cool. This is really new, and I took pride in that. I was the best. I would be so damn good. And the funny thing about it is it's like, I had done general labor for years and I was a partier. So I was going into work doing general labor on 2-3 hours sleep, sometimes no sleep, sometimes hungover, sometimes still drunk for the next one, but it's general labor. Sitting in the office, I could party all I want because sitting at a desk is nowhere close to draining as being on your feet 8 days, chucking around heavy things, which I had done for 20 years. So I loved it. And, like you don't have your group or your friends in certain general labor places. You drink on Fridays. Some places, if it was a small place, everyone would go drink together. But then just like always, everyone wanted to take me out to drink when I was good. Like when I started to become the leader. And I was just like, here's the thing about it. It's what I always wanted. I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be guiding people. I wanted to give advice. It was like any general labor place I had, I was trying to say to when I saw young kids, I'll be like, who came in on the team, I'll be like, okay, do this. I'll try to, but in that world, everyone's like, no, fuck you. I just said, it's everyone for themselves. I'm going to do it my way type of thing. But now when I'm seeing people just like follow me, be my minions, it was cool. And I realized I couldn't carry myself the way I used to. I had to be more mature. Where I kind of, in my personal life, it was always this cool, yeah, cool, king on party mode. I had to be when I stepped into that office, what I would call a replication, I would call it Little Yoli in my head. This is my dad's name's Yolandi. I would like kind of replicate his mature presence. And I would give guidance, be given advice. I would just kind of replicate what I saw him do. And it meant so much to be in those positions. I went on from collections, then I finally got into sales. And Bell Canada, Bell MTS, we were selling to Manitoba. And that was where I was kind of leaving the collection world and going to sales. Collections is one thing, I could do it one way. But this is like actually selling. This is what I did good in school. This is what I was when I was doing that general labor, and then the guys in the sales team were the guys who everyone wanted to be. Everyone wanted to be their friends because these were the guys who were making the most money in the company. And I was finally in that position to do it, but very entry level. This was another one where I went from that collections world where I found that spot where I got to wear suits and, well, dress shirts, dress pants, to another casual place. Which at this point I kind of embraced, because at this point I already had a following, so I kind of like love it, wear it. If you guys ever seen that clip of me being in a call center, lip syncing and kind of moving around to my old theme song, I guess I gotta put it here, so yeah, put it right here, I guess. That was that place. And that was one of those places where I kind of just felt out of place. It was a lot of younger people. I was a bit older than most people. Everyone was new to Canada. Most people were new to Canada. So I was just kind of just in there on my lone wolf kind of attitude. I'm in there just doing my thing. I'm like, okay, you left the collections world. You have that where you had your minions. You're somewhere new. You got to rebuild yourself. And by golly, babes, I got so good. I was just like, technically the outcast. I wasn't getting invited out to groups like other places before I got good. I was already getting invited to places. I had my own little circle of people, but here I was just kind of doing my own thing. There was one or two few people I'll talk to. In our break room, there was a pool table, so I'd go and play pool with people. But I would buy my lunch every day, so I wasn't there most of the time. I'd come play on break or whatever sometimes. But then, and this is a place where the training was like 3 months. So that's why there was like, I think, no, it was 2 months. 2 months of training. That's why, or maybe just a month and a half, and I'm remembering wrong, but that's why there was such a long period of me just being an outcast, where I wasn't as quick to the sales floor as other places. Some places were just 2 weeks. The first collection place, I remember the first 2 weeks. But when I got on that sales floor, it started a streak that I maintained till today in every sales position that I've ever had. I make a sale every day. There is no position I've had where I did not. Once you get past that onboarding process, you know, when they put you on your own on the floor, I have made a sale every single day, everywhere that I have been. And not only did that, I kept breaking records every day. I was the GOAT. And it was amazing. And it was just like, by the time I became the GOAT, it was just like, I already established my own, like, I'm a lone wolf, I ain't showing to people and stuff. I would always go out for lunch. I'd go far places. I would walk far. So it didn't get the time for when I got the treatment at other place until Halloween. So Halloween came, and this has always been a thing. This is why I always try to find like a new job in September, or like be like have somewhere that I go to work every day. I always dress up as Batman at work every Halloween. I've done it at every job. I remember that Halloween coming as Batman. It was actually so cool. Everyone wanted to take pictures of me. People was like, oh my God, it was my dream to meet Batman. it was the coolest day, and that was kind of just the day where it's just like, yo. And I was the best. I remember 3 weeks of being on the sales floor in that company. Bell has like a newsletter that they do every month. I was the featured salesperson. Like, I was like, there was so much nice stuff they said that I was like the greatest, blah, blah, blah. They hyped me up. I was just like, I remember the guy coming to the stand beside me. He's like, okay, we're going to write about you in the news. And I was just like, what? What? And it was just like another level of appreciation. The other place I had the camaraderie and the love of my team, being the mentor, which I did become here. I became a mentor for a lot of people. A lot of people kept coming for me for help. Regularly, people would just give me their calls or ask me to come to their desk and take over a call to close it for them a lot of times. But this was a point where the company was just like, yeah, you are so damn good. And keep in mind, Bell Canada is all of Canada. Bell is all of Canada. And all of Canada, I was so damn good that month I was the one they chose to write about. I don't know a lot of people who've had that accomplishment, other than the people who worked there. And well, actually, I think in the entire year that I was there, only 2 other people in the office ever even got mentioned in articles, and not as a salesperson of the month. That's where I definitely got my golden status. The regular amount, and I'll just give you the numbers, the regular amount of sales most people would get would be like 2 to 3 sales every 2 days. I was hitting like 15 on a bad day. 15 on a bad day. Not 2 days. They would hit 2 to 3 sales in 2 days. I would hit like 15 on my worst days. I was killing those numbers. And then I'd go to other places from there after doing sales, more established, more realizing from that job, don't go back to that lone wolf thing. Do what you did in collections. Build yourself up, be more of a leader. That's how you're going to get opportunities, which I did. And that's how I got my first management position, by going somewhere, showing my skills, being diligent, not missing days, and just like doing things very fast. Like in most places, they kind of give you a month to hit a certain amount of sales. And I know in digital marketing, it wasn't even sales. It was just like you had to just book sales calls for the closing team. You had to do 5. Yeah, like your 6 months probation. I did that in a week and a half, and close sales too. Actually, what I loved about the digital marketing place is when you closed a sale, they'd have meetings every day. But like on the Monday meeting, everyone, who closed the sale, they'd like give you entrance music, and you'd get up and walk around, and you'd give everyone a high five to your end. It was so cool. That was so cool. And that job, and this will be a whole other experience. This was just like where I went up to that next level, digital marketing. I'm gonna skip a few places because I feel this episode's going really long. But I got to a point where I left that kind of just like entry-level sales and digital marketing, where I'm talking to business owners before I'm talking to the general public. Now I got to convince a business owner to buy my product. Someone who's established, who's built their business doing their thing their one way and it's working. They probably have a lot of friends doing it. I'm some random guy they never talked to before, and I'm getting on that phone trying to get them to buy my services. And once again, I aced it here. As I told you, in a week, I did what I had to do 6 months to do. This place was different though. Like in some offices where I did sales, there'd be some sales managers who would take out certain people. This one, they actually had a thing, dinner with the managers. So you like legit, there's a dinner every month that you got to go with the managers and stuff. And there was another thing. Every Friday, not once a month, every Friday of the month, they would bring like 10, 20 cases of beer, a bunch of bottles of liquor. And then when you're at the end of your shift, like you can keep working through the night if you want. Some people did. They would have one room that had movies going on, one on one floor it would be like video games, one floor would be karaoke, and everyone would be just like partying, wilding out. Like, bro, when you hear those things about those crazy, wild sales teams, I've done that. Only problem is I was already too old. I got it on the phone, but I was a bit too old at that point. But I was bringing the thing that worked for me is I was already an influencer. I had established a lot of connections in the entertainment industry with artists who were trying to expand and wanted websites and stuff. So I did close a lot of sales because of that. Unfortunately, not everywhere does it, but that was one of those things where you can, like, despite all the leads they give you, they allowed you to bring your own leads. This always helped me, bringing my own leads, because I'm a good talker. You know, you could be just having a beer with me, just chilling, and it doesn't matter what I'm selling. If you're a potential customer, I'm gonna start talking about it, and you're gonna want to buy it from me. You're gonna look at what you have, what you're paying for it, or the quality of it compared to what I just told you and the way I told it to you. And you're like, damn it, Anthony, sign me up. It's so many times. I think I probably shouldn't have said, but my last job, I worked for Virgin Mobile, and I had a lot of friends, and that was like actually inbound. So what I would do, I would actually tell them to call, tell me when they call, and then just like drop the call. And then I'll call them back and follow up with them. Or I'll tell them to call and tell them to ask for me and say that I had called them previously. I actually did kind of get in trouble around the end because they were like, these people weren't even in your leads. How were you calling them? I was just like, oh. But yeah, I got really good at sales, and then I got a few management roles, and I actually carried some teams to breaking a lot of records. Like, it became one thing when you break records, but then when you lead a team, you're giving people guidance, and they're able to take what you teach them and do greatness and break records just like how you were doing when you're in their position. That is an amazing feeling. And I've kind of lately gotten lazy. There's a lot of opportunities I could have had, but I kind of just felt it wasn't me. And I noticed, you post your resume out there. I just recently did an update to my resume of the course I told you guys about. This switched up. I got rid of a lot of my general labor stuff on there and put more of a focus on my sales and social media stuff. And then I had a dental company reach out to me. Now, remember, at the start of the story, I told you guys I was working in the dental company. And what started this story that got me on this whole entire venture is I was not good enough to get to that next level at the bottom of the company. Here I am getting a job interview to be at that level that's the top of the company. Left that industry behind. Just even getting that interview was so validating. And I questioned it. I heavily questioned it. When I heard of the company, it was a newer company, but I went and I asked my dad about it, and he was all like, that's really hard, blah, blah, blah. It's really tough, blah, 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 blah. Then I saw, and I was like, I thought about it. I wasn't even going to do the interview. I wasn't going to take the call. And I saw a quote. You guys know I share those memes, and it kind of says, when anyone tells you you can't, it has absolutely nothing to do with you, and 100% to do with their own limitations. Now, the simple fact of the matter is my dad does not know my history in the sales world. It's not like every accomplishment I had, I wanted to tell him. There's a lot I did tell him, but he was just like kind of brushed it off. Or like, my mom would congratulate me, although I know some things she kind of just didn't understand the scale of what I was doing and accomplishing, but she was always proud. But my dad was just like, and I guess most dads from that, he's a baby boomer, they're kind of like that. So I just got to a point where I wasn't telling them what I was doing or the accomplishments I was making. So that's why probably in his mind, that would be tough for me. But the simple fact of the matter is everywhere I've done sales, I've broken records. I've been number one. I was leading teams. I was a mentor. had that interview last week, Friday. Let's just say the interviewer was very impressed with my previous knowledge of the products, because the amount of time I spent working with the products, of course I'll know them. Spent 7 years doing it. It might have been 11 years ago, but it was still 7 years of my life. I ain't gonna forget those products, and being able to present that knowledge of it and to show how damn good I am as a salesperson. The key thing is, it doesn't matter what you're selling. Your first goal is you gotta sell yourself. You gotta build that rapport. You could have the greatest product in the world, but if you're generic, you're not able to sell yourself and put yourself and make a rapport, make someone feel like your best friend in an instant in a call. They ain't gonna buy it. They'll probably pay more where they're paying more. I developed that skill. I became the best, so I took this call. And on top of how much I impressed in the interview, my references, I was saying I was number one. Definitely help. And my references aren't like select. Some people have select references. My references are just my last 3 jobs. Whatever my last 3 positions are, those are my references. Why? Because anywhere, and I tell them you can go into reach out to any of the other positions on my resume as well, and they will all tell you the same thing. I was the best. I was number one. I broke records, and I was a great leader. And any team under me succeeded amazingly. Location is a little far, but I'm gonna try it out. And I did post about this on Facebook and Instagram. I did have a few people, because the way I worded it is, this is the industry that told me I wasn't good enough when I was just trying to get, not all the way up here. I was just trying to get like from here to here. I was okay. Cylinder. I loved that company. I loved those people. It felt like a family to me. I would have been happy working there for the rest of my life. I honestly could have. But I think it was the next level of maturity that showed me that I deserved more. So I went out and achieved more and became more. And now after 11 years, I think it may have been 12, 13 years. 11 years, how long I've been doing content. It may actually be 13 years. And I put in all the memes I made 11 years, but you guys get the real number here, 13 years. I finished that story. If I take this position, they want me to come in and they're gonna make me an offer. And a lot of you asked me the way I worded it, am I leaving you guys behind? Am I leaving social media? It's just been my secret mission this whole time, because I said 11 years. And I've been doing this for 11 years. Some of you were kind of under an impression this was just secretly my thing to kill my time as I built myself up to go back to my real goal of finishing the story. I'll be real. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna even try to say this nice. I'm gonna just outright say it. I'm never leaving you guys. This is my priority. This is 100 my priority. 13 years ago is when doing this position meant something to me. That's when it was a goal to that guy 13 years ago. To me, I know the industry. I know the financial potential in that industry, and I know doing that, making that kind of money, what I could do for this. I will finally have the money to do marketing. I'll finally have the money to get proper equipment. I'll finally have the money to work with the talent I want to. I am not doing this to leave you guys. I am doing this to be better for you guys. You, the peeps, are 100% my priority. And if I have to go back to my past to get what I need to give you guys what you deserve, you're damn right I am. Stay good, peeps. Stay hood. and always and forever keep it